Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna talk about my first struggles, my first problems I met when I came to London, how I managed to deal with them, what were my solutions, what was the problem with my master, and how did I solve it. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about my coping mechanisms, not necessarily always healthy ones, how I managed to go through difficult times for me. So I hope it will be a bit more optimistic video. I hope I'm gonna give you some tips and advices that work for me. Maybe you're gonna find something for yourself, hopefully. So yeah, let's continue and let's get started. Okay, so just to give you a little bit of the background story, I came to London to do my master degree in fashion design. And I was supposed to do a full year and a year of placement, so I signed up for a 2-year program of masters. So when I first started my degree in September, that was my initial idea. That's what I thought I was gonna do. I was going for classes with full-time students, and I was also working at the same time. So in terms of my work, I had a contract for 30 hours, but because I really wanted to do some extra hours in first 2 months of me being here, I decided to ask my manager for extra 5 hours, so it was technically 30 hours on contract, but between us we had this arrangement that it would be 35 hours per week. After I started my uni on the 17th of September, I quickly realized that, as I had read on the website, it was supposed to be usually 2 days of masters. It's not gonna work this way. Yes, you have consultations, you have tutorials, basically only 2 days per week, but you still have a huge amount of work to prepare for both of them. So you're gonna need at least 2 extra days off during the weekdays to prepare for your tutorials. And why do I say during the weekdays? Because on weekends workshops are closed. After the second month of my work and my first month of uni, I started to realize that it will be really difficult for me to manage this job and my university, because I was working 5 days a week, because that's how I planned it. I thought that during my 5 days a week and 2 days of uni, it will be perfectly fine. So then I actually started to cut it short to 4 days a week. I would usually have Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, and then I would work from Friday until Monday, 4 days, which technically wasn't working that bad. Although after these 4 days of working, when I was supposed to go to uni on Tuesday, and I was still I had to also prepare myself for this tutorial on Tuesday after work, I was simply exhausted, and I also had obviously all my work stuff to do, from laundry, we all know that, like cooking, whatever else. So there was this 1 week when we had these workshop inductions, and the first induction happened to be on Monday, which we got an email about on Sunday. And when I found out, I was obviously at work, I couldn't go. So then I immediately emailed my tutor that I can't come, and he said, don't worry, there will be another induction on Friday, you can come on Friday because you need this induction to use workshops, otherwise you can't. And then I'm like, well, I can't come on Friday because I am working. Like, you know, I was having already Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off, and I couldn't have Friday off as well because I wouldn't meet my contracted hours. So that started to become a problem, because in my job, if I had an induction, and literally the induction took like 20 minutes tops, I couldn't have shifts in the morning or in the afternoon, so I could sort of fit my tutorials or my uni between or after that. So, you know, I was thinking, okay, like for example, I have an induction in the morning, or I have something in the morning, like I'm gonna arrange with my tutor, I'm gonna have a tutorial first 10:30, but I can still go to work at 12 and work until I don't know, 6, 7, whatever. But with my job, the one that I had, you could either work from 7:45 until 4, or you could work from 9 until 5:30, and there was no in between. Like, these were only 2 shift patterns. There was no such thing as doing half shift. It wasn't because it was impossible to do so. It was because they didn't want to be flexible with me. They didn't want to work with me at my university. Like, I met this kind of wall in front of me where it was like, listen, you have to be working on Friday, and sorry, but there's no one to cover you. So what I had to do, I was actually lucky enough that I had this job really close to my university. So during my lunch break, literally I had 1 hour lunch break. I took this lunch break exactly where this induction was. So I took it 15 minutes before I went to university. I had my induction and I ran back to work, and I was like 5 or 10 minutes late from my lunch break, but that's exactly what I had to do because I had to be on this university. There are sometimes some extra classes or extra lectures in the afternoon that it's like beneficial for you basically to take. I'm not even gonna speak about extra classes because I didn't even get to think about it. There was this one class that I really wanted to join because on Mondays there was a kind of a cappella choir, and I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, like I love Pitch Perfect. Sorry, I know it's like really but I just really wanted to do that, but it was at 5 p.m. I think on Mondays, and I was at work until 6 at least, so that was impossible. So yeah, I think that, you know, obviously when you're working, you have to be aware of the fact that you're gonna miss out on many different things. But when it comes to your university, like, there are some specific priorities, and I decided to look for another job because I really wanted to have something more flexible. So I went for, like, I started to search new jobs, and I found a job in women's wear store, which I was really happy about, even though the pay was exactly the same, but the contract hours was 24. Basically this dilemma between having more money, working more, but losing more of your university time, and working less, having less money but having more time was a huge dilemma in my life. Was a huge dilemma because uni is also expensive, as I mentioned before. Fashion design is really expensive. Every time you go for fabrics, even for like stupid things, little samples, you leave at least 30-40 pounds. For any type of pro markers, sketchbooks, whatever you need, another 30-40 pounds. It's like each month basically you need to buy something. I think it was after my 2nd or 3rd tutorial, my group tutorial, and I think we came to this tutorial, and there was this one guy who came. He was doing his bachelor degree at this university, and he came for master's straight after, and the research that he presented, like I dropped my jaw at that point. I was like, whoa. Like, for me it looked like the work that I would do in 1 month, not 1 week. He had, like, I don't know, maybe at least 10 different pages of research, collages, some initial drawings, some initial designs. He even, because he got, I think it was like a suit or a jumper, something like that, because it was archive project, so we got specific objects from archive. And he even decided to resew it. So in this week, not only did he do this whole research, he also sew a full garment so he can think about the construction and whatever. And I looked at it, there's no freaking way I'm able to do that, because you can see that for him to prepare something like that, he was taking his time each day of the week, from morning until the evening. And it felt like this is something that is expected for me to do. This whole vision just terrified me, I guess. So I started to read about part-time, because there were 2 guys on our course that were studying part-time. And when I talked to one of them, he told me that he basically needs to do a half of what they're doing this term, because he's working as well, exactly the same hours as I do. So that gave me this first idea that, listen girl, I think you should rethink your decision about full-time uni. Because when I realized that none of these people studying with me is working. There was like 1 or 2 people who had some like extra job on the weekends, but it was not even like full weekends, like Saturdays and sometimes half of Sundays, but basically Monday to Friday they were studying. And you know, I kind of figured that there's no one else who is like me working to support themselves, like it's me and part-time students. I started to think about it more. So it was one of the most difficult decisions that I made during this course, but I did it. I decided to go for a part-time mode. It wasn't even difficult to switch, honestly. I just had to write an email to my tutor, to the student office. The biggest fear I had was about my student loan, because obviously I got a loan for full-time mode with placement. So I called them, and basically because it was still a 2-year course, even though, like, even if there wasn't a placement, it was just a part-time, it was not issue for them. So luckily it all went fine. From a perspective, I am glad it happened this way, because I told my mom, listen, maybe I would be able to finish this course full-time, but you're gonna take me straight to the psychiatric hospital, because I don't think I'm gonna deal with it mentally. Like, I was already feeling a lot of pressure. I was already really stressed. Like, you know, just being on your own here and working and studying in a different place, like not where you're used to be, it feels like a lot on your shoulders. If I decided to go for this full-time mode, I would never take any extra hours, because I wouldn't have time to do extra hours. I would have to stick to my contracted hours, or I would even have to find a job with less hours than that. And yes, you can live with, I don't know, 20-hour contract, let's say. You probably will be able to survive. But you're gonna have to be really, really cheap in your life. Like, I'm telling, super cheap. I don't really consider myself a materialistic person. Like, honestly, if I had secondhand stores here, not charity shops, but secondhand, like in Poland, I was basically having my whole wardrobe from secondhand stores, because I love it. I love the fact that it's recycling, it's eco, and you can find pieces that are super unique and no one else have them. Quite often really great quality as well. So I don't care about this label. I wouldn't buy things from brands that costs over £100. For me, buying something for over £30 is expensive, okay? Like, in terms of clothing, in terms of shoes, it's expensive. Unless it's Dr. Martens, but it's a different story. But even in terms of like food or whatever, you would have to be really careful with your budget. And I think that I just didn't have space in my head to think about it. Like, you know, I was kind of postponing a decision to go to the gym until December. I didn't do this because I had to buy myself new shoes to go to the gym, and I had to buy myself leggings, and I didn't have money for that. So 1 month I bought myself shoes. The other month I bought myself leggings and, I don't know, sport bra. And the third month I signed up for the gym and I paid for membership, because back then, I don't know, I think I paid like £40, which for me at that time was a lot of money. So, you know, it's like a different priorities, different way of thinking. After I switched to my part-time mode, it started to become better. Yeah, I still had this mentality and this kind of mode of working where I don't do anything for 5 days after tutorial, because my mind is ignoring the problem and pretending it doesn't exist. And then a night before my tutorial, I have to remind myself that I have a tutorial. So I am literally working until late night, and I am waking up half dead, and I'm going to this tutorial and I'm doing some last minute things. And to be fair, sometimes it actually worked well for me, not always. I had also weeks when I would actually do a lot of things and work the full week because I was quite motivated, and then I would figure out on my tutorial that everything was shit. So it was yeah, that's mood swings of fashion students. With my job overall, yes, I had this 24-hour contract. As I said, I was counting on some extra hours, and usually when I wanted these extra hours, so in the time when I had this month off between terms at uni and I could work more, I wouldn't have any extra hours because they didn't need me to have them. And when I didn't want extra hours because it was my time before exams, we would suddenly become short-staffed because our manager left or someone else left, and yeah, like nobody really asked me much about it. Like if I wanted to work more, I was just in the rota. Yeah, that's kind of the thing that I learned as well here a lot, that you just really need to stand for yourself and you need to be really outspoken sometimes. Like I wasn't taught these things at all, how to speak to your manager when they don't treat you right. I was, for example, the youngest of my team, and I got promoted to a supervisor as well in the meantime. But before it happened, I felt like I was doing all the worst type of jobs. Like, for example, in winter when in our stockrooms is super cold, I felt used a little bit in terms of, I sometimes didn't mind doing deliveries. I like this time on my own, but sometimes I was annoyed when I especially remember this one specific time when I was sick. And I called sick for like 2 days, and I was in my bed with a fever. And on a day after I came back, I was obviously still not 100% well. I was still coughing, I was still having my stuffy nose, whatever. And I came to work, and the first thing after my manager asked me, so how are you feeling? Is it better? I was like, yeah, a bit better. Well, Patricia, there is a delivery downstairs. Side note, you were gone for 2 days, so nobody did the delivery. So right now you have 12 boxes, right? And me sick going to this cold stockroom, like I felt really bad at that point. And I remember that I needed to really set my boundaries at work and speak out and be more like, no, I'm not gonna agree with these things, because sometimes you have to. But I think it costed me quite a lot of nerves and stress and thoughts, because I first need to think about this certain situations like hundreds of times before I say something. How I was coping with the whole beginning of university, like my first bad tutorials experience, like first criticism here. I didn't take it well. I didn't take it well because I have this system where if someone is a sort of like my tutor, I can definitely see him as this example for me, role model. It really depends on who is criticizing me. I don't always take criticism well, but basically if something like that happened, I got criticized, my way of dealing with it would be to go back home after work, tutorial, whatever, go to my Tesco, buy myself some nasty vegan chips and some chocolates or whatever, like some sort of junk food, and I would play a YouTube video or a series on Netflix, and I would binge eat myself to the point when I can no longer fit anything into my mouth. The story of like how I developed binge eating disorder, because that's how I can only call it. I was never diagnosed with it, but I'm pretty much sure that this is what it was. That was my way of dealing with stress. It still is sometimes, not much anymore, but it used to be a big problem in my life, because I would always jump from one extreme to the other. I would either over-exercise myself and be in this mode like I need to lose weight and I need to be on top of everything, so I would, not eat almost anything. I would try to occupy my mind with studying or something. I would try to be this perfect person. Or then if something went wrong or I failed in this diet, I ate one cookie or something, I would be like, screw it. And I would get into my I don't give a damn type of mode. And my I don't give a damn mode is when I overeat, when I don't exercise at all, like at all, zero, when I can spend the whole day in bed, when I literally feel like I don't give a shit. And I was jumping into this mode really often until I actually started to go to the gym. Although I still had, after I joined the gym within a first year, I still had twice the mode that I'm talking about. Like I would just stop going to the gym, I would be eating shit, I would be drinking, I would be doing all sorts of stuff to like literally damage my body, because I felt like I didn't deserve to be this successful person. Like I didn't deserve to be this well, like I'm not good enough, like I just proved myself I'm not good enough because I ate this cookie. So now I'm gonna, literally it almost felt like, punish myself, and I'm gonna just not pretend in front of myself that I just don't give a crap about myself, because I was like in a different mind zone. Like I don't care about my body, I am somewhere else. Like I'm a daydreamer, I would be living in my world somewhere else. It may sound so like cliche, but I literally think that this gym saved my life and saved me from myself, because if I didn't make this decision, I was so fed up with myself at that point. Like I was getting fatter and fatter, and I don't even mean like, you know, I was obviously fat and I'm still fat, but in a way that we shouldn't even call ourselves fat, in my opinion. We are not fat, we have fat, we all have fat. You may have more fat and you may have less fat, but it's having fat, it's not being fat. You can gain and lose fat. Anyways, I really wanted to go to this gym. I really wanted to change something in my life. I was extremely afraid of the gym. Like, to be fair, I hadn't been to the gym before coming here, because first of all, in Poland right now they obviously have McFit or whatever, like the chain gyms that are less expensive, but overall gyms for me always felt like something luxurious. Like people who were going to the gym could afford it, and me as a student, I could never afford it. And even if I could, for me, signing 12-month contract with the gym was really risky, so I wasn't really happy to do so. I was thinking, well, I can spend this money on buying myself some dumbbells and working out at home, and I was usually doing that, to be fair, but I was kind of a bit against the gym. Not even talking about personal trainers, because for me that was a celebrity thing. Like, not having a personal trainer is like being a next level of posh type of person. Here it's different. Like I realized people have personal trainers, and it's not like you need to earn hundreds of thousands of pounds. People just have personal trainers. I kind of refocused. I stopped thinking about, oh, I'm so tired after work, I'm gonna binge myself and I'm gonna binge it and I'm gonna go to sleep. I'm tired after work, so I'm gonna have a coffee and I'm gonna go to the gym, because it's gonna make me feel more energized, it's gonna make me feel better about myself. When I'm in the mode of going to the gym, I am immediately starting to think about food. In like, I don't want to eat this chips and burger, because it just doesn't fit my, like, you don't crave things like that anymore that much, because you want to kind of fuel your body because you're working out. You don't want this freaking McDonald's anymore, I think. So that's the whole beauty of the gym. I will actually maybe record another video on how I started my gym adventure and what kind of insecurities I had and what was true, what was not true. So after you finish your term, you submit your work, you have a month off, you come back, and then you usually get your results within a week or two after coming back. And I remember this one time when I got my results, and from one of the modules that I had, not full modules, it was just a project, I failed. When I saw that I failed, I was shaking. I was so upset. I was so like, I am leaving this universe. I just don't care anymore. I am useless. I felt so embarrassed. I didn't even know how to come to my tutor and talk about it, because seeing this F on your card of grades is just terrifying. It didn't really motivate me. I felt like giving up. And I remember my mom said to me, listen, give it this one more term. Just try once again. Just try this one more time. I think because of these words of my mom, like I managed to finish this university. But I was really close from leaving this uni. I just didn't think that it was worth it. When I switched to this part-time mode and I realized I'm not gonna have this placement, I'm gonna be without working experience in the end of my uni, when most of the people, if they finish BA and MA, they would have at least 1 year experience during bachelor, and they would have this placement year at master, so they already have 2 years experience. They're way ahead of me for job searching. And for me, when I was thinking about the fact that I'm gonna have to find unpaid internships and I'm not gonna be able to afford it, I'm gonna first have to work for like a year to save up money so then I can go for unpaid internships. When I was processing this whole thing, I was like, this is pointless. This whole uni is just pointless. What helped me in these situations was mainly talking to people around me. Talking to my mom, talking to my friends, even crying a lot. Like, I was crying a lot. You know, this is temporary. Like, sometimes it's good to like distance yourself from the situation that you're in and think about it like this is just like 1% of your whole life. Looking from the whole life perspective, would you like to accomplish this task? Is that a value for you? Not for your family, not for anyone else. And I think that I also have this mindset from my environment in Poland, from this way of thinking that, oh yeah, she went for uni to London and she couldn't finish it, haha. You know, like, I have this way of thinking. It's disgusting. I shouldn't be thinking about it. Like, who cares what other thing, right? I do sometimes, I still do. But when I was really struggling with something and I was like fed up or I was terrified by something, even though I had a really like love-hate relationship with my tutor and sometimes I was scared of him, sometimes I was fed up with him, but I would literally come to him sometimes and I would be like, I'm struggling, it's bad. And sometimes he would say something like, look, just do something, just bring me something, bring me whatever, even if it's bad, just do something. And that would help me usually, because I would be like, because I would overthink a lot of things, and he would be like, just stop thinking about it, just do it, bring me something and we can start a conversation from it. And sometimes he would like feel the way I was scared about like my major project, for example, and he would be like, it's gonna be fine, like, don't worry too much, like, you're just gonna have to focus on what you're doing right now and that's it, and we'll take it from there. And you know, like, sometimes you just need to share your thoughts with people and listen to the responses, especially that people who matter and people who can give you a real advices, who would be honest with you. And that helps you, because I feel like every time you talk to someone, you just like take off some percentage of your emotion value from your shoulders. So let's say you talk to your mom, it's 15% less. You talk to your friends, it's 15% less. You talk to your tutor who's gonna give you a really good advice, it's 20% less. And suddenly, from this 100% stress, emotion, anxiety that you have, you're left with 50% because you got rid of it, you felt better. Then you go to the gym, you work out, you feel better. Not like permanently, temporarily, but still, like, for today you left another 25% and you're going to sleep not with 100% of stress that you can't fall asleep, you're with 25 and you're trying to deal with this 25 by, I don't know, breathing, maybe some meditation, whatever works for you. You're going to sleep and you're just doing fine. So finding people who are important for you, who you trust with opinions, is so important. And trust me, I don't have many friends here. I will tell you why in a different video. I didn't meet many people here, and I only have like literally 2-3 people that I can talk to here. Apart from that, most of my friends are from Poland and I would contact them. I would send them voice notes because I am lazy to type that much. So I am leaving them voice notes and they would reply me, because we don't always have time to like have a phone call in the same time. We have different schedules. But I would just deal with it this way. I literally had moments when I would record myself. Like, even right now when I'm talking to you, it's also therapeutic, but I would make notes, like recording my voice notes, because that also helped me to like put my thoughts into places and find logical reasons for everything, because sometimes all emotions can be so overwhelming that you need to logically justify it. Like, why are you feeling this way? Why are you like that right now? Because this happened. And sometimes you need to just tell it to yourself. Listen, you literally just had a major exam, you have this, you're going through a lot of extra hours at work, something happened at your flat, and like you need to, oh, okay, so that's why I'm so stressed. Like, sometimes you don't even realize you have this pressure in your body and you don't know what's going on. Well, you need to talk to yourself. In first place, you need to talk to yourself. I'm talking too much. And I'm probably recording this video for an hour now. Obviously, later on, I've had even more issues with, oh my god. I'm gonna probably make a second part of it, because I'm gonna have to tell you about my cancel tax problem, and I'm gonna have to tell you about how I dealt with the last 6 months of lockdown and how it ruined me. But basically, yeah, I just hope that I find you'll find something relatable here. I'm here to kind of share my story with you. Maybe you can find here something entertaining at least. So yeah, if you have any questions, as always, please ask me, and I hope I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for being here.